So we'll go ahead and get started. For everybody who's just now joining us, again, welcome to Senior Marketing Specialist University presents Dodging the AEP Drought. My name is Olivia Richardson.
And I'm Mike Katorna, and we are excited to have you here today. Per the norm, any questions, comments, concerns, threats, or promises, throw them in the question area of the user panel, and we will definitely tackle those. Like Olivia mentioned earlier, if they are not related, but you want to ask, we will get those at the end. So anything you want to ask, please do so.
Now, we are recording today's presentation. That doesn't mean that this means that you don't have to pay attention. It doesn't mean that you can log off and not having to listen to us. But what it does mean is if you do forget anything or didn't get a chance to write down some information, we will be able to include it in the post email that everybody should be getting probably when? Tomorrow, Mike?
Yeah, perfect. Tomorrow.
So,
and just, I'm sorry, just to kick this thing off, know that there is no one size fits all. When it comes to looking at AEP, what to expect, what the plan is. If you're going, oh my gosh, what do I do? I've gone through my book of business. I've pretty much contacted everyone I need to do. What do I do now? There's lots of variables. The size of your book of business, your market, is it fluctuating? Is it stable? Your reach in the market, are you popular? Are you brand new? What's your budget? Can you afford to do some mail drops or some calls or some marketing? Or is that something that's gonna have to wait till next year? So, it's really today, hopefully you get a couple good nuggets out of today that you can apply to your practice and your agency for the rest of AEP and going into Q1.
I also want to get very clear that you're not a quote unquote like failure of an agent if you are seeing this November lull for a couple different reasons. Primarily the reason being that this AEP has been really bizarre for a lot of different reasons. One, elephant in the room, COVID-19. If you're doing a lot of virtual visits, those virtual appointments may be shorter because you're not having to travel, you're not having to wait for people as much, and people are much more to the point. So you may just be having shorter appointments and closer together. Another reason is a lot of people have waited to make decisions in regards to their healthcare until after the election, which is still waiting for after the election. So this isn't something that you should feel like you've already failed. This is something that we're going to make sure we can take the situation that we're in and apply some really good strategies to make sure that you're finishing out your AEP really, really strong. Because the number one go-to when people want to do leads is mail order leads, and it's probably a little too late to actually implement mail order. So what else do you do?
I don't know. So that's today. Thank you for joining. No, it's kidding. All right. Real quick, what AEPs look like in the past handful of years is that about 15% of people on Medicare going to AEP not knowing what to do. There's like, I have no idea what's happening. I need to look at all these ads, these commercials, all these solicitations I need to look at because I don't know what I'm doing. Now, of the people that switch, which is about 50, well, it used to be a good amount. We'll show the next slide. But 85% of people who do make a change do so in the beginning because it's, hey, I saw the ads, my agent got a hold of me, I know what to do, I know I'm going to stay put or I'm going to change plans, and I just want to get that out of the way. Believe it or not, people don't find enjoyment in shopping for insurance. I know it's a mystery for us because it's so fun and exciting, but most people dread it. So they get out of the way so they can enjoy their Thanksgiving, their holidays, Halloween, etc. Which of course Halloween already passed. But there's three big holidays during AEP that people would rather be spending their efforts and time on rather than shopping for insurance.
Right now, you have your proactive clients. Your proactive clients are the ones that are listening to people on the radio, listening to those advertisements that are reaching out to you and have actively or are active in their healthcare choices. Right now, we're to the point where I would like to be like the procrastinators. We're kind of in that middle lull. And I know, Mike, on the next slide, you actually show what that middle lull looks like. That's where we're at right now, is where it's not quite late enough for the procrastinators to be like, oh crap, I got to make a move. But it's not, but it's late enough to where all the early birds have kind of made their decisions.
Yeah, we're in that crevice of, and that's what lull comes in. All that, like Olivia said, people making changes that are done, and everyone else is kind of like, I know I have till December. I got a whole month. And then before you know it, it's December 6th, and they're all freaking out, and that's very dangerous.
Mike, weren't you telling me that you were working with an individual? It was an individual who his parents, he was an agent, his parents were aging into Medicare. So like Christmas Eve or New Year's Eve, you were actually writing his parents for the effective date of the next day.
Yes, my personal P&C agent back in the day, when I was full-time in Kansas City, called me December 31st and said, my parents are both aging in next month. I need to get their coverage. And it was literally December 31st. So I spent my New Year's Eve that night from 7 to 9 at his parents' house, enrolling his parents into a MedSup and PDP plan. So yeah, that's why I always joke that P&C agents are the laziest people, because that's a true story. So.
Well, right now it is. Right now, it's a time where you really do need to start applying pressure in your management. Not pressure like I'm going to pressure you into buying something, but reminding people that, hey, there's a deadline. This isn't my asking you to make a decision. This is CMS and the government. So now is the time to convey that message of, hey, you don't have all day.
Yeah, exactly. So right now, you want to make sure you spoke to every client regarding their coverage, regardless of change, because if you want them to stay put, they're receiving tons of solicitations saying, look at this plan. You should call this 800 number. You should click this link. You should do these things to check this out. Contact every prospect you had. Are they going to change plans? Are they staying put? The prospects are people that you have maybe talked to earlier in the year, but are not clients. They never bought anything from you, but they're still in the same AEP as everyone else. And basically any older lead you have. So somebody maybe talked to 2 years ago that has a MedSup, you can still call them and say, hey, are you still in the MedSup? Are you going to make a change? What's going on in your life? Please let me help you.
I know right now I'm seeing a ton of questions about how to get out of doing prescription drug plans on social media and all these different Facebook groups. People are asking, what wording do you use so that you don't have to run the drug plans? Let me just mention right now, drug plans are the best lead and referral source that you're going to get. So this is exactly with those people who aren't necessarily that don't have their Medicare benefits through you. Offer to do them a drug comparison and show them how much money they can save by switching their drug plan. And that's an easy foot in the door and great referrals. I will also mention there is a huge difference here between prospect and current client. A current client, it doesn't matter if they have a final expense policy with you, a P&C policy with you, it doesn't matter. They're a current client. So you can actively reach out to them about their Medicare Advantage or prescription drug needs. It's not considered a cold call or soliciting those Medicare products. So it's compliant. If they are a true prospect, then you don't necessarily want to reach out to them unless you have a, what's it called, permission to contact. Unless you have a permission to contact, you don't necessarily want to reach out to them about Medicare Advantage or Part D, but there's so many other things to talk to them about. Right now, dental vision hearing is huge. Asset allocation right now, huge. So again, having those other conversations with them that are compliant, that it gives you the opportunity to get into those details of their health benefits.
Exactly. Now, one product we always say that you should be bringing up to at every Medicare Advantage appointment is hospital indemnity plans. Now, if you're in California, turn this off for a minute because you can't do that. But for everybody else, in all the other 49 states, when you talk about Medicare Advantage plans, you should be offering HIP. It's on the scope. It pairs perfectly with Medicare Advantage. And even if they're not going to buy it, because remember, selling ancillary products is a lot like a batting average. You're going to get a lot more no's than yeses. But those yeses will make up for the no's. It's a 70-30 split. If only 30% of the people say yes, that's a pretty significant number. But regardless, it's your responsibility to offer ancillary products to your clients, because that's the channel for a lot of ancillary products is broker distribution, not commercials, not Facebook, not radio ads, not billboards. They rely on broker distribution to get sales. And if you want them to start selling direct to the public, that could be bad for us. So make sure you bring it up. And you know what? Your client's finding out through a mail solicitation. This is something they could have had when talking to you, during AEP or last month or 2 months ago. And they're going, why didn't my agent tell me about this? That makes you look bad. So even if you know it's not a viable option for them, you can still tell them, hey, there's a hospital benefit. I might not recommend it with this plan, but just so you know, it exists. And that just shows that, hey, I'm here for you. And the fact that you said this may not be a good fit right now says, hey, there's a product, I want to recommend it. And people will be like, oh, wow, he's not just trying to sell me everything under the sun.
I would much rather hear, no, I don't want that, versus, oh, I didn't know you offer that, so I got it from someone else. It's really easy to sell against an agent who didn't offer a hospital indemnity benefit, because what you say is something along the lines of, you're talking to a client, maybe they're happy with their Medicare Advantage plan. You say, okay, well, who do you have your hospital benefit through? We don't say hospital indemnity, no client, nobody knows what an indemnity means. So you say, well, who's your hospital benefit through? You're going to get, oh, my hospital benefits through XYZ company. You're not going to hear that. We see the numbers. Nobody's selling hospital indemnity like they should be. Or you're going to hear a hospital benefit. What's that? Is that something extra? It's so easy to look at that client and say, oh, your agent didn't tell you about these extra hospital benefits. If you go to the hospital, are you okay with coming up with that, $6,700, that $3,400? Is that something you're comfortable with? It's really easy to paint an agent in a bad light that didn't at least offer that. If they say no, no problem. It's off your conscience. You're at least putting up another shield that an agent can't come in and make you look bad.
Precisely, and that goes right along with dental vision hearing, especially with med sub clients, because they don't have the option of having dental vision hearing built in the plan, or if there is on some rare med sub out there, it's typically a very, very minute benefit. So I'd rather my clients turn down dental coverage and say I don't want it, versus they're in the dentist chair getting their teeth pulled out and saying, oh yeah, you owe me $2,000 by the way, and they're like, oh, I got Plan F. I don't owe anything. And they're like, hey, it doesn't work here, buddy.
Yeah.
See the silly billing clerk, she'll take your credit card.
Good for you, but you still need $2,000 for the service. Now,
Yes.
dental hearing plans are the best door opener. They're low premium, which in the client, low premium equals low risk. They're low, and so that means it doesn't require a whole lot of trust for you, the agent. So great foot in the door product. It also requires no underwriting. As long as they fit in that age demographic, which most of your clients should, there really isn't a concern for somebody not being able to qualify with it with their health. So it is a huge, huge opportunity. Dental plans have really increased their benefits and increased in, what's the word I'm looking for? Necessity? Girl, I can't think of the word for it. But if your client teeth, eyes, and ears, then this is something you need to bring up with them. If they don't have any of these things and you bring this up to them, then you're maybe a little insensitive. That's not good.
Exactly. So right now, like Olivia mentioned, we're kind of in that chasm of early birds are done and the late bloomers are still kind of thinking about it. So what you can do, speaking of I want to think about it, is the early risers, the early birds that said are kind of on the fence, make sure you're following up. And if you're finding that you're not or you're getting a lot of I want to think about it, you need to look at your sales process. Are you over explaining the product? Are you asking for the sale? Because I've seen a lot of agents go through an appointment and say, great, here's information, thanks, and they never ask for a commitment. It doesn't have to be that hard. And then the one I love is, are you advising or selling? Advising is, hey, I'm just gonna give you a bunch of information for free, versus selling is, I'm gonna ask you to sign a piece of paper and possibly give me a blank check, because I'm gonna give you coverage, not just give you advice. Advice does not pay any bills, because we're not fee-based advisors, we work on a commission. So make sure that you're always asking for the sale. And I'm gonna give you a quick, easy way to do that is all you have to say is, this will start January 1st. Does that work for you? Yes, it does. Great, let's get the paperwork started. Let's go and knock this out, whatever terminology you want to use. But asking for the sale, it doesn't have to be uncomfortable for you or the client. It could be a simple, we can have this start on blank date.
I would rather hear somebody say no than I want to think about it, because I want to think about it means that the work in your job isn't done with that appointment. If you're hearing, again, like Mike mentioned, the points, I think over explaining is the number one reason why people want to think about it, quote unquote, think about it, because you're making a really simple decision extremely complicated when you over explain it. You're making it seem like it's a really, really complicated thing when they don't necessarily need to know the inner workings of Medicare. Right now I'm seeing a ton of this, and Mike and I actually talked about it on our podcast last week, but you need to make sure you're asking the right questions up front. Are they actually, quote unquote, seeing someone else? Is there another agent in the picture? Is there a reason that, do they not trust you? Do they not trust your advice? Are they actually using another agent and just kind of, quote unquote, shopping around? So making sure you're asking the right questions early on, and making sure you're setting the right expectations. So exactly, that client knows exactly what their next step is. That next step needs to be, are you buying this policy? Yes or no?
Yeah, 100%. One of the best pieces of advice I received early on in my career, it really helped me with my appointments, was at the end of the appointment, if it's in the home or if it's in the office, wherever, take 2 minutes and do a quick eval. Because how many times have we been in life, whether you're talking to a client or your spouse or a loved one or a friend, and you're like, oh, I should have said this. And you're like, oh man, next time. And then we go about, and then we forget again because we didn't write it down. Stop, do a quick eval. They asked this, I said this. Oh, I should have said
What
this.
are you saying, an email?
What?
You're saying do a quick email, or
No, do a quick, just pull over if you're driving. When they
you're
leave,
saying evaluation?
evaluation, sorry, eval.
Okay.
I said
Sorry, I
eval,
was like,
not email. Yeah,
I'm just
sorry.
going around like, yeah, let's do one of those.
Yeah, shoot him an email and just say, hey, here's some quick lines I forgot to tell you. No, don't do that. But that way you can incorporate that phraseology into your appointments, and you can start to see closing ratios and your connection with your clients grow, because now you're coming at them with much more rehearsed information, I want to say. And to give you a perfect example, I've done this webinar. This is the first time we broadcasted it. I've done this webinar probably about 12, 13 times. I've been through the slides 12 times. I've written my notes. So that's how we're so smooth here, like a gravel road. But still, we are, the more you work through it, the better responses, the more fluid it'll be, the more confidence your clients will have with you.
And one thing I will mention is when we're coming into one of the biggest pieces of advice is, I'll get through this, I promise. One of the biggest pieces of advice that Mike and I can give anybody when you're doing your AEP appointments is to set a follow-up appointment. I know it seems like it's twice the work, but I promise you it is absolutely worth it. Now, at that follow-up appointment, you can talk about a lot of different things. Mike and I go have a whole laundry list of things you can talk about, like teaching them how to use their over-the-counter program, signing them up for their first dental appointment, signing them up for the gym membership. There's a ton of like administrative stuff you do at the second appointment. But the second appointment is also an amazing time to go ahead and review products that you weren't able to review at that Medicare Advantage appointment due to compliance in the scope of appointment.
Exactly. So as you can see on the screen, there's cancer plans, home health care, annuities, foundations, anything else that's under the umbrella of what you offer can be discussed. And you can run your second appointments now. We talk about Q1 appointments. So if you have time now and you met them in October 15th, we're pushing a month of when you last saw them. So you can start seeing them now. It doesn't have to be a Q1 appointment. You can start it now if you have the time. So don't think, well, I set the appointment for February, I can't talk to them until then. Maybe you got some time. There's nothing wrong as long as you do, like Olivia said, doing that follow-up appointment and having it scheduled to make sure that your clients are like, yes, I'm excited to see you again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, if I could give any piece of advice to any agent, is having professional partners. If you want referrals, I can tell you every agent I know that has professional partners lined up, the average agent gets this many referrals. The agent that has professionals in the corner, their referrals are through the ceiling, because Mabel may have a bridge club with 5, 6, 7 other women. Your PNC agent or another insurance agent or a pharmacy or something else that you're networking and working with, they see thousands of people or hundreds of people, but a lot more than 12. So that CPA, the estate planning attorney, all these people, all these other professionals that are working with your clients and other potential clients that you may be seeing can be spreading the word about you. And to have that referral come from someone they trust, they're going to instantly have that, I'm going to call that person because so-and-so, my accountant told me to call you because they said that you're who they use for Medicare, so I'm going to use you too, and that's that trust by association.
It's that transitive theory. If I trust you and you trust this person, then I trust this person.
Mm-hmm.
Keep in mind too, this is something that does take time. This isn't something that you give one phone call and then the next day you're getting referrals and referrals and referrals. And also keep in mind that we need to be maybe a little less conceited. We're not the only industry in the United States that is extremely busy right now. Retail is extremely busy. Restaurants are opening back up. We're seeing a ton of people, again, all industries, all of them report, except for maybe tax attorney places, but everybody else reports their biggest years the fourth quarter of the year. So one phone call and saying, hey, let's get together for a coffee, if they don't call you back, understand that they're going to be just as busy as you are, maybe even more in a lot of these cases. So you have to make sure you do things consistently reaching out to them on a weekly basis, offering to give them extra support, offering them extra pieces to hand out to their clients. It's not just a one and done thing. People are way too busy.
Right. Yeah, and that's what on the screen you can see we have newsletter. Maybe you could have a little blurb on the newsletter or do it for them. Hey, I'll put you in my newsletter if you put me in yours, and there you go. Social media posts, you can bounce those back and forth. You stop in their office, drop off flyers, cards, etc. If they are doing mailers, maybe you offer to put your information in there, and maybe you give them, maybe split the cost of it. Lots of opportunity there to partner with others in the field. But like Olivia says, it isn't overnight. I would start with who you use and start asking your clients who they use. Because when you call up somebody and say, hey, I've had a bunch of my clients tell me that you're the best at X, Y, Z. I'd love to, talk to you. One, you're like Olivia just said, you're inflating their ego, so that's great. And you establish you have common ground. So it's not necessarily cold call anymore. It's okay, we're in the same boat. We were just on different sides. So let's come together and steer this ship in the right direction for both of us.
Speaking of mailers, this is a little bit off topic, but I couldn't think of a better way to put this in here. So watch me fumble through. This is the time of year where people are going to start receiving those holiday cards. Skip the Christmas card because Christmas cards, it's too late because then they're going to get it around Christmas and we're done with our stuff December 7th. But send out a Thanksgiving card and send it out now. A Thanksgiving card saying I'm thankful for my clients and thankful for you as a relationship. People will keep it longer because people tend to keep holiday cards at least through the end of the year. So people actually keep it longer than they'll keep a Christmas card. And it's something that sticks out. Everybody sends out Christmas cards. Be a little unique and send out a Thanksgiving card. So now's the time to do that.
So I'm gonna share a quick story that my mom just posted yesterday. One of their dogs. Yeah, the lovely, the woman who brought me in this world, much to the demise of the world. They had one of their puppies passed. Well, not puppies. It was an old dog, but their dog passed away. So my dad, yeah, very sad. My dad called Chewy.com, major corporation, right? Big, huge, giant. You're probably just a number to them. Calls Chewy.com to cancel their recurring order, saying, "Hey, our dog passed." That's what they got from Chewy.com. This big corporation sent them flowers. They will never buy dog stuff, and they always have had dogs. Chewy just got customer for life and free publicity on Facebook. And guess what we're going to start doing? We're going to start buying our dog food and a lot of stuff on Chewy.com because that is awesome. So those little things you do for clients, I mean, they can go miles. So yeah, I got to send my client flowers or send them something or a sympathy card. Yeah, you know what happens? They talk about their friends, they post on social media, people get interested. It can't, trust me, being involved like that and going above and beyond, you will blow the doors off your clients' expectations, and that's how you get the word out.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I'm still blown away that they sent them flowers because flowers aren't cheap.
No.
You ever send flowers? Expensive. Ugh.
And like you and I both know that's some sort of automated process and they just had to push a button set up. But like, I don't care. That's incredible. I'm going to start using Chewy because that's really cool.
I guarantee my mom cried on that one. So good tears. Like, oh my gosh, that's so nice of them. But,
so in addition to reaching out to all your pro partners, you should also be networking with people from the community using those community programs like Mike had mentioned. But keep in mind, when we're going through these community programs, you need to be thinking about what do these programs need. And that's exactly with your pro partners as well. They're not going to do anything to help you. Everybody has tattooed on their forehead, what's in it for me. So what do these community programs need? Do they need more people, higher utilization? Do they need more referrals? Do they need money? Can you donate something to them? Do they need volunteers? Can you donate time to them? Education, should you be doing a Medicare 101 for these organizations or these Medicare seminars for these organizations? You need to find out exactly what they need from you in order for you to be a valuable relationship to them.
Precisely. One example in Kansas City, in Overland Park, Kansas, I don't know if it's still there. I haven't looked in a while, but there was an American Diabetic Association office, and they would give me cookbooks to hand out to my diabetic clients. I'd take my little label, slap it on there, provided by Mike Gatorna, your insurance agent, with my contact info, and it was free marketing for me, free marketing for them, win-win situation. So if you're wondering what can I hand out that's different, I was the only agent that I knew of that was doing that in Kansas City. Maybe there was another one, but I didn't hear about it.
Mhm.
So, my diabetic clients got a free cookbook. Cool beans. So, like Olivia said, reach out and see how you could help them and you could work together.
But again, it does take time. You call out once and say, hey, I want to do this. So you might talk to somebody who's really eager and say, yeah, let's do it. And then it'll fall to the wayside. Consistency is key. Consistency is always going to be key. So it doesn't stop here.
Yeah, you're building a relationship. Not too many relationships end up in marriage after the first date. It takes a handful to get going. Unless you're my wife. She was just pretty much, you're alive, you'll do. So anyway, where do
There's a
seniors
pulse.
go though? It's always easier to go to them. And I realize that right now during COVID, it was a little more inconvenient to do that, especially when senior communities were closed off to the public and senior centers were closed, but they're starting to open back up. So go to where they are. The more they see you, the more they're going to trust you, the more they're going to open up to you and start asking questions and, trust that you are on their side. Go call bingo. They're starting to open back up. Go to medical offices, silver sneaker programs, or any
Mhm.
programs that go with any of the Medicare Advantage plans that you offer. Go talk to them. Some of them may have coordinators for seniors, and you can say, hey, I sell plans that help get seniors here. How can we work together to build your membership? And they're like, oh, you want to help us? Yeah, well, let's open the door. As opposed to,
Mhm.
hey, I'd love to sell more insurance. How can you help me? They're going to be
Yeah.
like, please go away.
I will say, if you're willing to call bingo, I called bingo when I was in high school. That was one of the weird jobs that I had. And like, you have to have a thick skin. If you are someone who cries easily, stay out of the bingo ring, my friend. If you can't take the heat, stay out of bingo because it gets real intense.
Yeah, when Martha's card is writing on either, taking her prescriptions or buying another card, that's stressful because she will call you
Mhm.
out. Yeah,
Mhm.
she'll
And
throw
if,
that
for
card
God
at you.
forbid, if you say B47 and you accidentally say B48, like Martha's coming for you. You were
Yeah,
on her list.
you better duck. I Here's another piece of advice that I cannot ex, tell you enough to do.
Ooh, that was a Porky Pig moment. I liked it.
Yeah, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I'm really good at those. We tell our clients, don't go online and buy insurance. Use me, I'm a professional. But then when it comes to leads and marketing, we're like, we'll figure it out. We'll wing it. We'll just throw money at the computer and see what sticks.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to a professional. I'll use mailers as example, but this can go for telemarketing leads, for Facebook leads, for anything else. But I know when I was doing mailers, I would call my mail house and talk to them about, hey, here's what I want to do. Here's the area I'm looking at. What do you think? For every one drop I do, they're doing thousands across the country. And they can tell me, hey, what we've seen an uptake in is this. And we've heard for years, dental is a great way, a great door opener. We're seeing a lot higher return. So if you think that Medicare card looks slick, call them before you order and say, hey, is this a good card or have you seen high returns with other ones? And that way, you may get more leads or you may get better advice. And I can tell you the agents that we work with the most, that have the most success, are the ones that reach out for help. It's not help,
Mm-hmm.
it's, hey, you're a professional, I want professional help. Let's talk, professional career help. If you want that kind of professional help, we have numbers you can call. But
It's
for
not us.
yourself, I would say never, never, never buy leads or pay for marketing without talking to somebody that's on the other end that is the one that's going to be processing the order or advising you some way.
Again, when it comes to, we talk about all these different types of leads, but specifically with mailers, don't do your own mailer. That's exactly what Mike's saying. Turns out the higher the mailer, the higher responses you're going to get because it doesn't look like advertising. It looks like an official piece. So again, I've seen some really beautiful mailers come out on cardstock and these shiny colors. They get nothing. If you look at somebody like Target Leads or our good friends over at Lead Concepts, their leads are not attractive, but that's because they work. Right now, it's also, like I mentioned, a little too late for mailers. Not only are mailers right now super intense, but especially are super people are getting really inundated with mail right now. Not only that, but mail house leads are actually running out of data because a lot of them will say they're exclusive for at least the 60-day period, which is almost the entirety of AEP. So they are running out of data. Even our friends over at Lead here or at lead concepts is telling people to wait until after December to do their next lead order. And it also might be because this year, more than any other year, we're seeing a ton of brand new people in the industry. If you're one of those brand new people in the industry, welcome. We're happy to have you. But again, Mike and I have, in our experience, we've seen that a lot of people have joined this industry recently due to losing their job to COVID. So if you're an experienced agent or been doing this for quite some time and you're thinking about doing a lead to kind of fill in your funnel, mailers are not the way I would go this year. Not for AEP, not this late in the game.
Yeah, there's an ugly mailer, but they work. I've got a whole folder of them because my wife is on a T65 list somewhere. So we've gotten a ton of mail this year, a lot from Essence, which is one of our local carriers. But yeah, we've got tons of mail. You know, these little lead cards that come in. You know, please send back and we'll get you. Please call this number, yada yada yada. And like Olivia, don't be alarmed, excuse me, but you know, I always look where they come from. And every now and then it says, and I will tell you that eHealth, you know, the big call center, they're doing mailers as well. And they are finding that no one's answering their phones because we've gotten inundated with political calls the past 3 months that everyone stopped answering the phone. So they're like, we need people to call us now. So they're doing a lot of up-on marketing and saying, hey, please call this number, as opposed to up-on marketing via cold call. So pay attention to that. So if you are struggling on the phone, don't forget, we all just went through a crazy election cycle that's still happening, and we all got bombarded with texts and phone calls saying, please vote for me or vote for this person, and we're all tired of it. 100%. You should be screaming at sell insurance. There was a point to this slide, and I don't remember what it was.
Basically, really just tell all the people. That's what I have written down. Make sure, again, my husband's the worst at this for some reason, because my husband owns his own business. He builds homes for a living, and he'll be talking to somebody and they'll be talking about, oh yeah, I'm thinking about building, I'm thinking about doing this. And he'll be like, oh, okay, cool. And then we'll leave and I'm like, but you do this. Like, that's the client. Like you do what he's asking for. And he's like, yeah, but I don't want to seem pushy. I don't want to seem braggadocious. No, you have to value your services to the point that you have to realize that people's health care is at stake if they're not getting your advice. I mean, you have to value your own services to that extent where you have to see the end game. If you're not giving them advice, then their health is at risk.
Yeah, exactly. And you could simply give them your card and say, hey, if you have any questions, here you go. Talk to them.
It's so confusing. Give me a call.
Yes, absolutely. Some quick reminders. Getting clients phone. We talked about everyone's having all these phone calls and text messages. If they see a random number come through, they're not going to answer it. If they see your number that's programmed in their phone come through, there's a much higher probability they will pick up that call because they know who it is.
It's also more likely for them to refer you. They're probably not going to keep a copy of your business card in their wallet, but if somebody's asking for information, it's a lot easier to give them your information if it's programmed in their phone, which they'll have on them at all times.
Exactly. Thank you cards. So my sister-in-law had a job interview and she was telling us about it. And I said, did you send a thank you card? And she's like, why would I send a thank you card? I'm like, you always send thank you cards after job interviews. That's just, and she's like, I've never done that in my life. I'm like, well, that's why you're looking for a job, isn't it? So I did say that, but she gave me that look that was like, I'll murder you. But handwritten thank you cards go a long way. Just like the story of my mom and the dog, and they did these things for my parents. This is saying, hey, I took the time to sit down and write a thank you card, not an email, not a text message. A handwritten thank you card goes much further than any type of automated thing that you could produce. That will also bring some referrals.
And yeah, they'll bring referrals in that thank you card. This is not the time to peddle another product. Anytime you an email or sending or doing something, I always recommend hey, put a little blurb in there about something. Thank you cards, zero blurb, keep it simple. But yes, like Mike mentioned, referrals, it'll absolutely, everything you'll do will lead to referrals. Referrals is a healthy dose or healthiness of asking for the referral versus earning that referral. You have to do both.
Exactly. Make sure you have a valid retention plan in place, because if you're not working to retain your book of business, why should they work with you on keeping you as an agent? They have no motivation to. So give them a reason to keep you.
7 contacts a year equals a solid referral plan. They should be systematic and not cost you any more time per contact. And that's 12 contacts per 12 months.
Yes. And make sure your social media is active. I know social media can be very daunting, very time consuming, can be a black hole of time wasting. We get it. However, I always say this is my mindset. Every time I do a Facebook post, it's like passing out a business card. And I may pass out 200 business cards and never get a call, but I'm still passing them out because I know it will come eventually. So keep posting and just think to yourself, every time I post, I pass out a business card because I see lots of books. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Facebook posts are not designed to do lead generation. The purpose of social media is to build and maintain a relationship across a wide audience. It actually is a huge time saver. But if you're doing a Facebook post and expecting leads to come from it, you're going to get really frustrated really quickly. Note, Facebook posts are very, very different than purchasing Facebook leads. They're very different ways that you word those, very different calls to actions and things of that nature. So keep your social media active. It'll let people know that you are busy, that you're still in business, but that you're also appreciative of the referrals and appreciative of those contacts. The last thing I would add to this would be to set follow-up appointments. Mike doesn't have that on here, so it's a little bonus reminder. Set follow-up appointments. You should never leave an appointment without the next appointment set. I don't care if that appointment's in 2 weeks, 2 months, or 8 months. The next appointment should always be set.
Yes. If you were thinking, what do I post on social media? We've got the SMS Agent Connect group on Facebook that will give you information that will be in the post email. So definitely check that out. If you have an active contract with Senior Marketing Specialist, you can join and we'll give you all the content you need and then some. So what do you do from here? First things first. Oh, actually, before I jump into these, don't forget that there is no one size fits all. Too many what ifs, market, budget, size of book of business, etc. But here's some good generic information. Double check your CRM.
I was just gonna say, because Mike and I do represent the United States. We do this on a generic, this is what you need to be doing. We'll make sure that, especially if you have a contract with Senior Marketing Specialist, you have access to our accounts team. What our accounts team does is that they're essentially business coaches. They will sit down with you, get to know you, your selling style, your goals, and the way that you want to attain that goals. And they'll give you actual business advice and business coaching and sales coaching on how to attain your goals and how to do business the right way, not necessarily the get rich overnight way.
Yeah, there is no get rich overnight with, they always say, if you want to become a millionaire, marry one overnight. So, and again, that's still a relationship, still takes time to do that. Double check your CRM. Have you missed anyone? Is there any concern that a client has that's in your CRM that you can take care of right now? Double check it. Contact your pro partners. I would say if you want them to do something, give it to them. Hey, I'd love to do something in your newsletter. I have some articles already written, or I have a video already done, or I have some images you could use. Don't expect them to create your own content. If you have some content to give them, they're more likely to use it. And then with COVID, hopefully starting to lift off in your area, we're seeing the restaurants start to open. I did see the senior center here in town is starting to, dust off the doors. Start making yourself known again, because we've had so much go on in 2020. You don't want to be forgotten about between COVID and election and this dumpster fire we've been living in. So make sure you're rising up from it like a phoenix and saying, here I am selling Medicare insurance.
The last thing I would add to that, and this is more of like a clerical / more of an administrative side, please, for the love of all that is holy, check your book of business. Every single time you write an application, you should be doing this at least twice a week. Go to the carriers, check your book of business to make sure that it is not pending for any other reason. Every single year, we are extremely busy December 8th because people are like, oh, I wrote a piece of business October 16th, and I was actually pending the signature, and so now the app is canceled and I can't get them submitted because it's after AEP. So please, 99% of carriers will not notify you if there's an issue, will not notify you if it's pending for whatever reason. It is your responsibility to go and check the statuses of your applications. If you would like to learn how to check the statuses of your applications, call our offices. We have how to do business guides, or visit the AEP toolkit on our website, smsteam.net. And we have a lot of tools and resources on there about, again, how to check your pending business. But please, please, please don't assume anything.
Yes,
Trust
100%.
no one.
So any questions, comments, concerns, threats, promises, throw them in the question area. We will address them. Now, if you have a question, hey, this is my situation, can you answer it? Let us know. We will be happy to do so. Otherwise, you could always give us a call, 800-689-2800. Do a live chat at smsteam.net. Additional training at sms-university.com. How to do business. We got walkthrough appointments. We've got ancillary product reviews and demonstrations. We've got stuff. We've got things.
Dancing monkeys.
What's that?
Dancing monkeys.
Yes, well, you know, I'll put Sea Monkeys on the back page and link it out. So I don't care. I'll do whatever you need. We'll do whatever you need. If you want more, if you can't get enough of me, Olivia, one, we get that all the time. Not from anyone we know, but
right.
We are still doing the Medicare Cafe every Tuesday at 10 o'clock. So definitely check that out. Again, every Tuesday at 10 o'clock Central, we are going live in AEP and beyond. We do have additional webinars coming up. We are doing Your Best Year Yet. That's coming not next month. It's November. That's coming December, January, sometime?
It is December. It's December.
Okay, that's next month then. Okay, yeah, next month. That's December. Comes after November.
Honestly, like, I can't even be mad at you because, like, I kind of still think it's like April.
Yeah, I thought it was, I was almost not here today because I thought today was Wednesday, and it's Thursday. Surprise, surprise.
Well, it's a nice little surprise, though. Usually it's the opposite. Like, I woke up on Tuesday and I'm like, well, at least it's Thursday. And I was wrong.
Yeah, let's see. Oh, here's a good question. Can you post an Aetna dental image that I found on Google Image if I'm contracted with Aetna Dental with you? So that's a great question. So let's say you have an Aetna contract and you find an Aetna image online. Can you post it? I would say.
I didn't understand what you have to say. Tell me.
Oh, you want? I would say, one, the image is copyright protected. Yes. So any image you find online has a copyright because Aetna owns it. Just because you sell it, and that doesn't give you carte blanche to use anything they have in their arsenal. And a lot of times they do have a portal for agents on the agent side for images and materials to use. So be mindful of that. And I would say go to Aetna's social media page. You can share from there. That's the safest way to do things.
Yes. My personal opinion is that you don't know the intent of that picture as it was created by Aetna. The intent of that picture may have been a direct consumer intent and not an agent use intent. So if you're just going to Google Images, I wouldn't recommend using it because, again, you don't know that intended purpose. Now, again, like Mike mentioned, if you go to their social media, you know the intended purpose was to be shared on social media. So you can share it then because you know the intended purpose. That would be my recommendation. Carriers are very, very concerned with how you use their logo, how you use their information. So that's like carriers like Aetna, CVS, United Healthcare. They have these really cool like toolkits that you can actually customize pieces with. So it's like Aetna branded or UHC branded. And then it'll have like your name on the piece as well, so it's co-branded. So check those out. There's a lot of really cool, or a lot of companies that will have really cool branded pieces that you can edit.
Absolutely, but I would not pull random images. Yeah, I would not pull any images off the internet because you want to find out that that was protected, or get a call from compliance saying please cease and desist. That's never a fun call. It's like, what happens if someone would forward a flyer that says for financial professionals only? Well, you don't want to forward it because it's only for financial professionals. That's their disclaimer saying if it gets out to the public, that's our get out of jail free card.
Yeah, I need a context on that one. Like, what is it that's being sent? Is it HIPAA information? Is it, again, because when it comes to like financial professionals and you're getting to some series information there about what can be shared versus what not shared. So I would need some more context on.
The best thing I could tell you about Facebook and social media and a lot of online usage is picture a dinner party. And you're there and all your people that like your page are at a table. Are you going to talk to them like, hey, how you doing? How's the weather? Blah, blah, blah. Or you can sit down in front of these people and say, hey, let me tell you about Aetna Dental that nobody asked for. So treat your social media like a nice conversation that's not salesy. They know you sell insurance on social media because they're liking your insurance agent's page. Don't
Mhm.
subject them to constant ads on what you sell. Don't even mention carriers, because I can tell you this. I was at United Healthcare's Facebook page not too long ago. In fact, it was last week. I was seeing what they were putting out there, and read the comments on what they post. So people like United Healthcare is the worst, they didn't pay this claim, even though they're doing a Medicare image. Someone's on there complaining about what they didn't pay for their kid. Well, their kid's not on Medicare, but it doesn't matter. It's United Healthcare. So you
Mhm.
could actually trigger somebody by saying the wrong carrier's name. And they're like, oh, I hate Aetna, they're the worst. Then what do? So you got this nice image of Aetna Dental, and someone says, yeah, I went there and they didn't pay for anything. So don't open up Pandora's box on your Facebook.
Yeah. It's cute. Like this is all to build your brand recognition. The caregivers are spending millions of dollars to build theirs. They don't need the help. Use their information to build your credibility, but on other platforms, you really need to be promoting yourself as a sales, as a licensed agent and as a person, a go-to person. So
Yeah.
keep that in mind as well. Social media is three reasons to use social media: friends, family, hobby, adding a fourth one, cat videos. So if you don't, so whenever you're posting on social media, there can be information like, did you know it's the annual enrollment period? You have until December 7th to make a decision. So that's informative, but then post a really funny picture of this cat doing cartwheels or something.